All right. Okay, so we're beginning a new series of messages. Okay. Now, let me just explain, in a way of introduction, that it is a series of messages on prophecy, but not the common, regular preaching about prophecy. Because if you notice, the regular common messages about prophecy is going through the events in chronological order, telling you, look, this is going to happen first, and then this is what's going to happen, and then next, and this, and we go in chronological way explaining the events that are going to happen in the future, that are prophesied in the Bible. Well, this series of messages is not like that, okay? It's not like that, because I'm pretty sure most of you already know the calendar of events, how they are going to happen. Now, what I want is for you to learn this style of messages is to help you have a biblical worldview, okay? Worldview. Cosmological view of life. So that's why it's going to be needed for us to go to the past, history, to evaluate the present, and then that way we can see the future, the prophecies. Because, you see, sometimes we have the wrong idea that all prophecies are going to be fulfilled, right? But sometimes we think that those prophecies suddenly, boom, they're going to be fulfilled, and it's going to be so different that everybody's going to be surprised. Look what happened. No, on the contrary. On the contrary. The prophecies are being fulfilled, little by little by little. So we need to understand how they are being fulfilled nowadays with the things that are happening, how they are being fulfilled. So that I as a Christian, I'm not going to participate in helping those prophecies being fulfilled. For example, I don't want to participate in creating the system for the Antichrist. You understand what I'm saying, what I'm going? I don't want to participate in doing that. But you need to know the factors that are playing right now that are working towards that goal. You see? There are factors. Because what are the two main forces in society? The two main forces in society are political forces and religious forces. And we see that at the time of the Antichrist, he's going to have control of both forces, political forces and religious forces. How is he going to be able to accomplish such thing? We're helping right now that to be accomplished little by little. It's developing. So that's why we want to learn the way that we are right now, society, because we know who is ruling society? Jesus or Satan? He's the prince of this world, the Bible tells us. He's not the king. Only Jesus, God, is the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. But he's a prince. He has power, and he's being influencing, and he wants to bring about his plan. And if we don't know his plan and how he's bringing about the fulfillment of his plan, we might end up participating in that plan. See? So, in a way, probably these messages, they could be boring if you don't really want to pay attention to what happened in the past, what is going on right now. politically, religiously, and how that is heading or helping
the fulfillment of
future prophecies, and you wanted to probably just hear a regular series of messages on prophecy, on going in order of the events and giving you examples of how awful it's going to look. I'm not going to go exactly through that, okay? I think that there has been a lot of that. So we're going to begin with this subject of socialism. And something that we have to understand is that a deadly virus is quietly spreading throughout our nation. You say, yeah, Pastor, we know COVID is spreading throughout our nation. Well, the virus that I'm talking about is way, 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 way more dangerous than COVID, okay? Way, way more dangerous than COVID, okay? Because COVID, you know, it is known that you can suffer COVID
from 3 days to 10 days.
And that's it. It's gone. And it's gone from 3 to 10 days. But the virus that I'm talking is about socialism. And you don't get rid of socialism once it's established in 3 to 10 days. Look at Cuba. They haven't been able to get rid of that, even though it is a mess. I'm pretty sure none of you, if you really look at videos, study the situation in Cuba, nobody would like to go and live there. Nobody. Or Venezuela. Would you like to go back to Venezuela? Who do you think, most of the people that are coming right now to the United States, they come from Venezuela. Okay? And they're not running away from Venezuela, a socialist country, because everything is great, exactly the way that it was presented
before they became
a socialist country. It's not like that. So how long have they been suffering with socialism? You don't get rid of that virus right away. They still, and you know what happens? Like in Cuba, like in China, like in other socialist countries, it is only the first generation that suffers the revolution, the change, that struggle, and they want to get rid of socialism because they discovered that all the promises were false. Were false. So they try to get rid of it. But only the first generation, because the second generation, they already get used to the system. They get used to the system, and they go along with the system. And now they just go along. There's no resistance in a system
that doesn't give you freedom.
Now you are in a huge prison. Huge prison. So that's why it's so important right now for all of us, first generation, second generation, the youth, especially the youth, to understand from a biblical perspective what socialism is all about, because it's been pushed in public schools for you to see it as a better system for government, a better system. In public schools, that's what most of the teachers believe. Okay? Now, look, let me give you some information. 50% of Americans viewed socialism favorably in the 1950s and 60s. I wasn't even born in those years. They say, yeah, right, you were old in those days already. Okay?
So 15%.
Because I remember that in my youth days, socialism, communism, was hated. Even us in Mexico. Oh no, we don't want nothing to be with communism. Okay, We don't want that socialist. So 15%. But things are being changing little by little. That's why I'm telling you how things change little by little. They start developing because in 2020, there was a poll conducted, and now 40% of Americans view socialism favorably. You see the jump from 15% to 40%? And we have to understand that even 1% jump, it's a lot, okay? Now imagine, okay, we're talking about 25% is up. 25%, it's a lot
Of people here in the United States.
that see socialism favorably. Okay, so we are on our way to establish a socialist country. Okay, and we have to wake up. That's why this series of messages is about helping you have a biblical worldview so you can see life right now according to the scriptures. So you can put together what's going on in politics and religion and in society, how that connects to prophecy. I want you to see that so that you don't take part on the evil system that is working little by little, working to come up with what the Bible already warned us about. Okay? So we have to be careful. Now,
Do you worry with the 40%?
do you think that's worrisome? What do you think? Yes or no? 40%. You should worry and say, wow, 40%. That means that of every 10 people here in the United States, 4 see socialism, communism favorably. 4 out of 10. Don't you think we should worry? Now, I'm going to give you reasons for even be in a greater worried. Okay? Because according to this poll, okay, 61% for those between the ages of 18 and 24 view socialism favorably. And they are voting already. They already are in the age of voting. Oh, who do you think they're going to go for?
For a capitalist
Candidate or a socialist candidate? Who do you think they're going to go for? Clearly, they're going to go for a socialist candidate. And we have socialist, communist candidates. I don't know if you've been paying attention. Like, you know, one that we can think, well, I'm glad that it's already old, that he is on his way out, but he still have a lot of youth, a lot of young people following, and that's Bernie Sanders. Have you heard about him? You see him with the do you think, what party do you think he belongs to? What party? You tell me. Because we say, okay, we have 2 parties here. Okay? The Democrats and the Republicans. And he belongs to the Democrat Party.
He doesn't belong to the Democrat Party.
And he doesn't belong to the Republican Party. He belongs to the Socialist Communist Party. But he caucuses with the Democrats because they are the closest to him in the way they see life and what they want to accomplish. He caucuses. That means that he works together with them. But he's not. And he was, you know, he was about to become a candidate for the presidency of the United States if it wasn't because they helped Hillary Clinton. Because Hillary Clinton was already, they said, no, we have to coronate Hillary Clinton, but then came Obama. And they noticed that Obama had a better shot to win the presidency because he's black. And who's not going to vote for a black person? If you don't vote for a black person, you're a racist, okay? So he won,
And Hillary Clinton said, but
next time, you better give me the presidency because I have to run. So the next time, Bernie Sanders got more votes than her, but they work out in a way that they remove and say Hillary won, so Hillary was the one that went against Trump. And she lost, but Bernie Sanders, can you imagine? He got more votes than Hillary Clinton, even though he was not a Democrat. He's a socialist, communist from that party. Now, we say, okay, he's already in his 70s, so he's on his way out. But next bad news. Okay? Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez in 2018 became the youngest Congresswoman in history. Is she a Republican or a Democrat?
Democrat.
None of those.
She's like Bernie Sanders.
But she works with the Democrats because they are closer to her ideals. But she's a socialist, okay? She belongs to that other party. And she has millions of youth following her. Millions of youth following her. Youth that are not yet in the age of voting, but they're going to come to age where they're going to be able to vote. And she has already said, I'm going to run for the presidency one of these days. So what do you think are the chances for a Latin woman, socialist, accepted by the majority of the youth? Do you think she has a shot to win the presidency? Oh, yes. And we're still asleep. We don't see that, okay? We don't see that. And the youth at school, they don't see that.
They just see her like, oh,
the savior of this nation. A savior by establishing socialism? Just go to Venezuela and see what those saviors brought about to that nation with socialism. So we need to really wake up and see life from a different perspective. Look, like I'm showing you just news like from Fox News. How socialism, that's an article. How socialism turned Venezuela from the wealthiest, did you know that it was the wealthiest country in South America into an economic basket case. Now it's the poorest in South America. It used to be the richest. Their economy was almost like our economy here in the United States, almost. And now look what happened. And it's because socialism.
look,
Another article by Al Jazeera, it's an Arab news outlet. It says, there is no wealth to distribute. Venezuela poverty rate surges. Today, Venezuela is a social and economic wasteland with 96% of citizens living below the poverty line. Most people earn less than $1 a day. Is that what you want for this country? You see, if you compare, they're only paying $15 an hour. Well, wait until you get less than $1 a day. If we continue in this route of establishing a system that is very destructive to society. It is destructive to society. You go anywhere where this system is established, and you're going to find destruction of all kinds. And I'm going to show you why. The roots of that system are not godly roots. We're going to go into that. But I want you to understand right now what is going on. He says there's no wealth to distribute because they say, hey, social justice. And the youth, they keep listening that in school. Hey, we need to establish social justice, social justice. And this is social justice. They say it's not fair that some people are very, very rich, and others are rich, and others is middle class, and others are poor, and others are very, very poor. That's not fair. We need to have everybody the same. So they start getting the money. But you know what happened in Venezuela? Those that had money, that had business, they right away, they understood when they started hearing the candidate, the first candidate that wanted to have become a president, and that he was talking about socialism. Right away, they send their money to Florida. They send their money to Florida. They say, I've been working so hard to have this money for my future that I'm not going to give it to the government. And they said, so now they don't have money to get from other people. And what happened? Yeah, everybody is social justice. Everybody's at the same level. Very, very poor. Everybody. Do you think that's justice? Do you think that's fair? If you really think that that's justice and that's fair, then go to Venezuela and live that kind of lifestyle. Just go there.
Now,
we have a warning, a prophecy. We have a prophecy, okay, from the Lord Jesus Christ. I want you to understand this prophecy. It says, when the Son of Man, speaking about himself, Jesus, returns, it will be like it was in Noah's day. In those days before the flood, the people were at ease, enjoying banquets and parties and weddings, right up to the time Noah entered his boat. Do you understand the warning? Are you understanding the warning right there? He's telling us, hey, be careful to be comfortable, to be under the blessings of God, to be at ease, just going on with your life, that, the quinceañera, the wedding
for my nephew and this and that.
and you just focus on the things of this life, of this world, and you're just focused there, and, come on, Pastor, you're as always exaggerating. What happened? Verse 38, this is verse 37, verse 38. People didn't realize what was going to happen until the flood came and swept them all away. That is the way it will be when the Son of Man comes. You see? So there was a prophecy about the flood. It's coming, the flood is coming, the flood is coming. Okay, I know it's going to come, but right now I have to just take care of my stuff, my work, the parties, the weddings, the quinceañeras, and I'm just going to go doing life as regular life has to be lived.
But are you aware
that the flood is coming? Are we aware where we are heading with socialism? Are you aware how this is gaining little by little? It's becoming a reality little by little, little by little. And what are we doing? Are we even aware? Because that's what the Lord Jesus is telling us with this prophecy. Be aware of your times. Be aware what's going on around you. in politics, in religion, and internationally. Be aware, because you're the light of this world. You're the salt of the earth. I have you here to make a difference, not to go along with life, with the world, and just be like everybody else, and in reality ending up helping the wrong side instead of really living the way that God wants us to live. So now, I've been speaking badly about socialism, okay? But I want you to understand what is socialism, okay? What is socialism? And then I'm also going to explain what is not socialism, because sometimes even politicians, in order to scare people, they say, that candidate is a socialist, when in reality it's not a socialist. They just want to scare people. Say, he's a socialist, no, I'm not voting for him. Or, this president of this country is a socialist. And people say, I've been hearing good things about him, but he's a socialist. Oh, no. So that's why we have to really know what socialism is all about.
What is socialism?
I'm just going to show you descriptions, because it can become kind of difficult just to have a statement about socialism. So it's a political system of society, okay, for the society, in which the means of production are owned and controlled by the government rather than the private sector. Okay? Capiche? See, I know that's why I warn you that this series of messages, they could be a little bit boring if you don't pay attention. Okay? Because, that I don't care. But this is important for you to understand, because it's happening. And you have to understand how it's happening. Because look, right now in capitalism, okay, let's say, for example, Giovanni, he has a business. And he is being successful in his business. He's working hard and he has good ideas. And so he's making money, Okay? Right now, in capitalism, he is the owner of that company. He is the owner of the fruits of his hard work, that money. He is the owner 100%. And the company that sells the products that he is selling, that company is the owner of that company, is the owner of the products and everything. But in socialism, he is the company that sells the goods that he sells. Those are private sector. But now in socialism, they are not the owners anymore. Now government becomes the owner. So you tell me if Gio is going to be willing to continue to work hard now that he's working for the government, and all the earnings and everything they belong to the government, and the government is going to control and spread. Do you think he's going to be working as hard as he used to be working when now that he doesn't own that country, that company? He doesn't own the money. Do you think he's going to like that? You go to Cuba, you're going to see that. Pastors that I know, that I have fellowship with them, they have ministries in Cuba. It's very difficult. We try to encourage them at least to grow in their backyard some vegetables and all that, but they don't want. They say, it is useless. If I grow vegetables in my backyard and all that, somebody is going to tell the government, and they're going to come and they're going to give me, I'm going to get in trouble with the government, and now they're going to take everything for them, take them to the market. So why even do it in my own house? So that's why they say, no, we just go every week and we get our bags that the government gives us about rice, beans, and this, and we take it home and we try to live like that and we try to live happy. You want that kind of system? That's what socialism is all about. The primary goal of socialism is the elimination of socio-economic classes through equal distribution of income. So they say, it's not fair. We need to establish social justice because it's not just, it's not fair to have people that are very, very rich. That's one class. And then people that are rich,
Another class. And then people
that are middle class, another class. And then people that are poor, another class. And then people that are very, very poor, even homeless, that's another class. So we have to eliminate classes. We have to eliminate classes. And that's the way, by distribution of income. So if you were in the first class and you were very successful and you were very, very rich because you were a great doctor and you did this and you did that, and now, forget it. Now you're going to work. Yeah, you're going to continue working as a doctor, but for the government. And you're going to be as poor as the rest of the people. As poor as the rest of the people. Because now you're going to be just working for the government. And that is, don't think like here in our economy, in our system, right? It's to work for the government, it's good. They pay good, and then they give retirement, and they give us
medical
insurance. When we in a socialist system, when we talk that you're working for the government, it's not like that. It's not that the only thing that they're going to give you is baskets of rice and beans and some vegetables and maybe one chicken for the week. That's going to be your salary. Oh, but you're going to be very happy because we're all at the same level. We don't have any more classes. So be happy because social justice was established. 100%. Social justice was established. So be careful, especially youth. The youth. Because junior high, high school, college, university, they are pushing social justice. But they don't know that they are pushing socialism. With social justice, that's what they're really
doing. Okay?
The distribution of system. Okay. Let's keep understanding socialism. Citizens in a socialist societies depend on the government for everything, including food, housing, education, healthcare. Okay? The government is going to provide everything for you. So when you hear that, healthcare, universal healthcare for everyone, where do you think that they want to go? Where do you think? And you see, we can say, yes, I don't have to pay for, the government is going to give us education, free. Go to any university, it's going to be free. Housing, food stamps, everything. If we're honest,
it sounds like,
I'm going to win the lottery. Woof. Everything's going to be free. It's not going to be free. You're going to be a slave. You're going to be a slave. You're not going to be free. You think that we establish socialism and we are going to have a better economy, a better United States? Forget it. It's another Venezuela, another Cuba, another Red China. And it's just going to be the same thing. And you're going to be a slave to the government. So that's what it is. Okay? So the first step to establish socialism is to eliminate capitalism, because capitalism creates social economic classes. See? In our system that right now,
Right now,
we still have capitalism is getting weaker and weaker capitalism because they are pushing and pushing for socialism, okay? But capitalism, yes, creates social economic classes, but that's not wrong. Like I was telling you, do you see something wrong with Gio working hard and coming up with a great idea and now selling his idea, his products, and he's becoming rich? Do you think that's unfair? Or do you see it like fair? How do you see it? It depends on you. If you see it like something fair, then you're a capitalist. But if you see it as unfair, you're a socialist in your worldview. Okay? So capitalism creates creates those that are very, very rich, filthy rich, the way we say it. And then the rich, and creates the middle class, and the poor, and the very poor. We have all those
economic classes.
But the way I see it as a capitalist is that's fair. That's fair. My social class, I cannot complain. If I wanted to be in the rich social class, then I had the freedom to decide what I was going to do. And I could be doing something else that would help me create the wealth that I wanted. Because we have freedom in a capitalist system. You have freedom to make as much money as you want, as you can. And it's fair capitalism because it takes in consideration that everybody have different potentials. Different potentials.
And in socialism,
they squelch your potential. Okay? You have the potential to become very rich, now you're going to be very poor. But I have the potential, I can come up with so many ideas and create these and then inventions and all. Forget it. So in reality, it's unfair, that system. Completely unfair. Now, also, let me make a clarification, because this is those that are pushing socialism, they come up and say, hey, the first Christian church that was established in the book of Acts, they began practicing socialism. So socialism is encouraged in the scriptures, in the Bible. Look, the first church in the book of Acts. Look what it says. And all the believers met together in one place and shared everything they had. They sold their property and possessions and shared the money with those in need. Wow, I say that's
really a
description of socialism. Okay? Do you think that's what was going on in the first church? That they were trying to establish socialism and that we should follow the Bible, follow the Word of God, that's God's ideal for us to create a socialist system here in the world, okay? No, because, if you just take one verse out of context, yeah, you can come up with any type of explanation and application. But if you take verse in his context, in the chapter context, in the book context, in the Bible context, and all the contexts, they come together in harmony, that's going
to be a
good explanation. But if you just take it out of context, you can come up with so many things. Even Hitler he used the scriptures, the Bible, to did what he did, so that he killed all so hundreds and millions of Jews according to the scriptures. He told them, look, we need to get rid of them. They are at fault for killing Christ, the Messiah. So the Christian church, he was telling them, how come you don't see nothing wrong in these people? Look what they did. And they created hatred towards the Jews using the Bible. So using the Bible out of context, you can come up with so many things like this one that, oh, that's socialism. When in reality, that passage is just a story of free will, personal sharing out of love and compassion, and not forced government socialism. That time they were going through a hard time because there was not raining, there was not crops. So there were people in real need. So the church said, hey, I have some things that I can share, and people start sharing and helping each other. That's benevolence. It's the way we call it usually in the churches. We have a fund, a benevolence fund to help people in need. Okay? So that's what they did. They started, in reality, a ministry of benevolence. Okay? Helping people in need. But it's not that they were starting a political, socialist system. Now, let me compare and give you. We have social welfare, right?
Here in the United States.
But social welfare is not the same as socialism. Just because we have social benefits, it doesn't mean that it's socialism. Now, be careful, because those that want to create a socialist system, they take advantage of welfare. They take advantage of welfare. Why? By expanding the benefits. Expanding. Now, we're going to give to everybody this, and now to everybody. When in reality, the purpose of welfare, it is because of what we would consider a Christian country, that together we want to help those that are in real need. You see, benevolence. It's like the benevolence fund of the government.
To help
Those that are in real need. Okay? And that help is just temporary, while they are able to come out of that situation. And in fewer cases of a person that really is not going to be able to operate anymore because he's completely handicapped, that we can continue help that person with benevolence. So you see the difference between socialism, that now everybody has to go for the government for their food, for the medical attention, for schooling, for everything. Socialism offering everything free. Free. Okay? Now, like I was telling you, we have to understand the roots of socialism, where it comes from. Okay? Because, you see, for example, Christianity. Where does Christianity come from?
If you want to go
To the root, where does it come from? The word tells us Christianity comes from Christ, right? That's why it's called Christianity. So it comes from Christ. So when you understand Christ, who he was, then you understand the nature of Christianity, right? So when you understand where socialism comes from, you're going to understand the nature of socialism. Follow me? Capiche? Or you want to take a coffee break? Okay? I want you to follow. Okay? I want you to follow. What are the roots of socialism? Karl Marx. Okay? Karl Marx. Just the same as Christianity. You go back and you go to Christ, exactly the same. Socialism, you want to go back and you're going to stop
at Karl Marx.
And he was a German philosopher, economist, historian, sociologist, political theorist, journalist. He was a well-educated German. He was well-educated German. Okay, and he was born in 1818 and died in 1883. So he died at the age of 65 years old. 65 years old. He was young. Pollito. He was young when he died. And he wrote the Communist Manifesto. That's the Bible for socialists, communists. That's the Bible. That's what they follow. Everything there, it gives you a roadmap how to establish socialism.
Socialism. And in many
schools, part of their work of research, make a research paper on the Communist Manifesto. Why are they doing that? They cannot make a research paper on the Bible, but on the Communist Manifesto, yes, you need to understand it. It's a beauty. All the richness, political richness that you're going to find there in the Communist Manifesto. Go through it. Understand it. So that you can be in favor of this system. Now, like I was telling you, to understand socialism, we must first understand Karl Marx, okay? We must understand Karl Marx. It's the same like I was telling you with Christianity. We understand Jesus, we understand the nature of Christianity.
We understand the nature of Christianity the same way.
We understand who he was, and we are going to understand the nature of his system that he came up with, okay? Okay, he was not just a hater of God. He was not just a hater of God. He was a cheerleader for the devil. Okay? And I'm not coming up with this information. It's his biography. Okay? It's all about him. It's nothing new. Okay? I'm not coming up with lies to you. But the thing is that when a person is pushing for socialism, they're not going to tell you the truth about the roots of socialism, where it comes, the nature of socialism, the kind of person that created that system. A person that not only hated God, but he was a cheerleader for the devil.
Can you imagine? Now,
another information. His family, those that knew him better, thought him possessed by a demon. They thought that he was demon possessed. His family, okay? His family. A biographer, the one that made his biography, described him like this. He had the devil's view of the world and the devil's malignity. Sometimes he seemed to know that he was accomplishing works of evil. Do you want to follow a person like this? Do you trust in a system created by a person like this? They're not going to tell you that in public school. On the contrary, socialism, that's what we need. Yeah. And Christianity, no, Christianity, get it out
of the school.
So we get Jesus out of the school, and we bring a demon-possessed person to follow. Do you see where we're heading? You see the reason for this series of messages that I'm going to be preaching, how to see the fulfillment of prophecies, how they are working out, how little by little they are doing, and then I'm going to get later on into more details about the prophecies that are going to be fulfilled. Okay, look, more information about getting to know Karl Marx. Okay, like on one occasion, Marx's own son sent him a letter and addressed it, "My dear devil." The way he was known even by his family, by his son. "My dear devil," he wrote to him.
And Marx's partner,
Friedrich Engels, declared that 10,000 devils had Marx by the hair. I'm glad that I don't have hair. But look at him with all that hair and 10,000 devils. So what do you think about the nature, the character of this person? Would you follow his teachings? Tell me. Would you follow his teachings, this kind of person? Would you feel free to follow his teachings? Or do you rather follow Jesus' teachings? Okay, so we need to let the Word of God help us see life from his perspective instead of just letting the world get to us with their perspective. And little by little we start, oh yeah, social justice, oh yeah, this, free that, we need free that, free. You don't know, you just don't know where you're heading and what is the outcome of that free this. You don't know what's the outcome of that. So let's get into that. What kind of social system can come from a person like this? Okay. Well, if you don't know, I'm going to tell you what kind of system comes from a person like this. First of all, it's an anti-God, atheist system. You tell me, any country that established socialism, communism, are they for Christianity or for atheism? They're atheists. One of the reasons the USSR, that was the most powerful communist country that was established, one of the reasons why they were getting weaker and weaker in their system is because Christianity was being successful to evangelize more and more people within. And Christianity is completely different to socialism, communism, and people started to be that, hey, we don't want this system. We don't want this system. So a new president came that he noticed that he didn't want to have a revolution inside revolution. And having a meeting with the President of the United States, Ronald Reagan, he decided, help us, U.S., help us, because I want to get rid of this system. This system is collapsing, and it's going to create a revolution, and I don't want more people dying. And Ronald Reagan helped bring down the walls and get out of that system. But that system, the basis was atheist. Atheist. Because the source
was a hater of God.
And he saw God as an enemy of the system, because in his system, because a Christian sees God as the source of every blessing, right? We see God as the source of every blessing. In socialism, you have to see government as the source of every blessing. So government becomes your God. Now you rely on the government. Now you trust on the government. Now the government is your savior. So little by little, people started changing, okay? So this type of system creates an anti-family system also. The Christian system of family, it's just not okay for Marx. When you see his manifesto, his Bible, we have to get rid of
the Christian family.
family, the way it is, okay? The way it is. And that's why, hey, we need your children from the cradle all the way to university. Let us have it, okay? We are going to take care of your children. And you, parents, you go to work. And that's what happens in social. You go to work for the government, and the family is completely, and little by little, you start getting rid of God in your mind, in your system and everything. And the way that we see family, the way that we experience family is different in socialist countries. Very different. A pastor friend of mine that has a ministry over there, he told me it's very different. The relationship in family is not like us here.
Yeah, because Christianity
It's still prevalent. But in those countries, forget it. It's an anti-family system. It's a divisive system. That's the way they break a society or a country, by dividing people. Okay? And the main way that he teaches in his manifesto is divide them by classes. Make the poor hate the rich. So that you can get in the mind of the poor that we need justice. We need social justice. We need to get rid of the richest of the rich and spread them around. Okay? But now, like here in the United States, that the great majority of people, we have everything that we need. Okay? So that's not very effective anymore. It's not very effective. Still effective, but not very effective. So now they're trying to
divide us
in other ways. Okay? They try to divide us, and the sex, okay, that no, you are against homosexuals. You are against the LGBTZ all the way. You are and they start making divisions so that we can be divided in different ways. That they are coming up with different ways. They're constantly coming up, like the latest. Hey, you're not going to be able to use gas stove. I don't know if you have heard that. It's going to be illegal. It's going to have to be electric. Okay? No more gas stoves are going to be illegal. So they divide and say, but what's wrong? Are we a free country? And if I want to use a gas stove, I can do it. And if I want to use an electric stove, I can do it. And if I want to use outside a wood stove, I can do it. Is this the United States, or are we already in a communist, socialist country where the government is going to tell us? So little by little, step little by little, they start doing things where in reality, they are removing our freedom. Understand that. Removing our freedoms. Dividing us with different subjects. And it's a totalitarian system. Okay? The ruler is a dictator, and he's going to stay there until he dies. There's no such thing that we have the freedom to choose our representatives. Forget it. It's not like that. You establish socialism and you establish a totalitarian system where those that are in control, they're going to control everything 100%. There will be no liberty. And it's a deadly system. Okay? It is
a deadly system.
In order to establish this system, you can go back in history and see all the people that had to die in order to establish. Let me show you what the book, it's called The Black Book of Communism. In this book, it's calculated a Marxist death toll for the 20th century. It revealed the most colossal case of political carnage in history. Let me show you. Like here in Latin America, 150,000 deaths. Just right here in Latin America. In Eastern Europe, 1 million deaths. In Vietnam, 1 million. Okay? In Africa, 1.7 million. In Cambodia, 2 million. In North Korea, 2 million.
Okay?
In USSR, 20 million deaths. And in China, 65 million deaths. And I could keep going on and on. Right, just right here, it's close to 100 million people dead in order to establish. So if you disagree with that system, it's going to come a time where you're going to be eliminated. Right now, and we're going to get to that message. Right now, going to that point of be eliminated, the beginning is cancel culture. Cancel culture. And we're going to get to that. There's one message about cancel culture, so you can understand it from the Bible prophetic, how they begin with canceling. Okay? Hey, you're not allowed to speak and to present your position because it's contrary to our position. So shut up. Cancel.
Cancel your opinion.
Cancel your. So that's what it is. It is this kind of system comes from this kind of person. Okay? And I don't know if you want to live under socialist leaders, they're all, the socialist leaders, they were all totalitarians. Like Stalin, Lenin, Zedong, Che Guevara. Oh, Che Guevara is loved by the youth. Oh, Che Guevara, I want to have a t-shirt of Che Guevara. He killed hundreds and thousands of people. He was a bloodthirsty killer, Che Guevara. Okay? Fidel Castro, Nicolás Maduro in Venezuela, Jinping in China, Kim Jong-un in Korea. Okay?
So,
You see, like it says, every socialist is a disguised dictator. And I don't know if you want to live under a dictator. I'm pretty sure you're not going to like it, live under dictatorship. Now, let me show you a prophecy. How this is helping the fulfillment of this prophecy. All this that I just explained to you on socialism is going to help in establishing this. Look, Daniel is prophesying about the future, and he's telling us when the end is near for those kingdoms, for the countries, for the countries here, there will be a very bold and cruel king who will be very deceiving. This will happen when many people have turned against God. Okay? So he's talking about the Antichrist, the coming of the Antichrist, that is a future
prophecy that is going to be
fulfilled. Okay? That is going to be fulfilled. And you see, like for example, just right now, for us, if the Antichrist would rise right now and started his changes, who do you think it would be more surprised? Us here in the United States right now, or those in China, in Korea, the socialist country, who do you think it would be more surprised? I want you to apply what I just said. We would be more surprised because we live in a different system. But for others like China, North Korea, they have already lived in a system of an antichrist leader, one that is a dictator, one that controls their lives, one that if you don't agree with me, you're in trouble, you're going to die. That's going to be the system of the Antichrist. They're not going to be so surprised. For them, probably it's going to be better to say, oh yeah, we're going to have a world leader. Yeah, it's better than to have Jinping or to have, they're going to accept it. So that's why it is easier for Satan, the Antichrist, to start preparing people not to be so surprised for him entering into the system, into the world. It's going to be already prepare the people for that. That is not going to be a big deal. It's not going to be a big deal. Notice the next verse. It says, his power shall be mighty, but it will be satanic strength and not his own. So what do you see with Mark?
Was it
Satanic? What he came up with, his system? Yes. So in a way, he was and he is a type of Antichrist. That's why he was against God, and he was a cheerleader for the devil, and he was against the family unit, the way the Bible presents it, and he was this and he was that. Exactly like the Antichrist. Exactly like the Antichrist. So those who are used to that system, the Marxist system, they're not going to be surprised with the Antichrist system. They're going to be already used to that. They're going to be already used to that. You see, it's going to be very powerful. And he will destroy all who opposes him, though their armies be mighty, and he will devastate God's people. The same thing that the Communist Manifesto tells, get rid of religion, get rid of Christianity in order to establish socialism, get rid of religious people. Okay? And if they don't submit, kill them all. And they killed millions and millions and millions and millions in order to establish socialism in different countries. So here, it's telling the same thing. The Antichrist is going to be against God's people. Against God's people. He's going to oppose God's people. He's going to persecute. And he's going to kill them. And the Bible even says the way that he's going to get rid of believers, he's going to decapitate them. Why? So that people can get scared and say, this is what's going on. If you don't submit to the system of the world president that we have now, they're gonna cut your head off. Oh no, I better submit. So that's what the Bible tells us about the prophecy of the coming Antichrist. Now, is that right? It's because it has batteries, right? It's not electric, and we didn't have electricity at night for a while. So, but does that mean that that's it?
It's 11:30. Yeah. 11:30.
Is that what it means? Let me see if I can finish this. Well, okay, give me 5 minutes, okay? And I finish. It's Danny's fault that he went too long. No. It's me. It's because, I try to to summarize as much as possible everything that I study, but sometimes it's not possible to do it. in that time. So look,
The next verse, he says,
he will be a master of deception, defeating many while they are at ease. The same prophecy that Jesus told us, hey, be careful, it's like the days of Noah. When you are at ease, it might happen. As they bask in false security, oh, everything is fine, and then nothing wrong is going to happen. Whatever the pastor is saying is going to happen, no, I don't know when, in the future, but not right now. So great will he fancy himself to be, that's the Antichrist, that he will even take on the prince of princes in battle. But in so doing, he will seal his own doom, for he shall be broken by the hand of God, though no human means could overpower him. Okay? No human government, no human power was able to defeat him, only God. Only God. Okay? And that's in reality what happened with the USSR. Only Christianity, when started gaining followers, it was able to do that. Okay, verse. Now in 2 Thessalonians, it says, don't be carried away and deceived regardless of what they say. So what he's telling us, don't believe everything that you hear. Don't believe everything that you find in the internet. Don't find just because in the internet it doesn't mean that that is 100% true. So it says, for the day of the Lord will not come until two things happen. First, there will be a time of great rebellion against God. And that can be created by socialism. Get rid of God. Get rid of God. Rebellion against God. And then the men of rebellion will come, the son of hell, the Antichrist. The Antichrist. Okay? And in future messages, I'm going to show you what's going on with Christianity nowadays. Here in the United States and in the world. Are we growing or are we decreasing? Okay? He will claim that he himself is God. Yeah, because that's why he's called the Antichrist. He thinks that he's God in the flesh, when in reality, he is the only one that was God in the flesh, what? Christ. So he is the Antichrist. Okay? But that's how arrogant he's going to be. See? As for the work this man of rebellion and hell will do when he comes, it's already going on. Understand? He's already working on it. He's already working on it. And that's what I want you to see, how he's already working on it, setting it up. Do you get it? How he's doing it? How prophecies are little by little being accomplished? It says, this man will come to do the work of Satan with counterfeit power and signs and miracles. And nowadays, most of religious people, evangelical people, they're only after signs and miracles. This church is not attractive because we don't have signs and wonders and miracles and tongues and all that. No, this is a boring church. You know what they do? They just study the Bible. Can you imagine how boring can that be? Just going through the Bible, la, 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 la. That's boring. And then they want to wake you up with a coffee. Forget it. After 1 hour of explaining the Bible, get out of here. He will completely fool those who are on their way to hell because they have said no to the truth. They have refused to believe it and love it and let it save them.
okay? So
That's why we have to be warned. Hey, we have to love the truth. We have to live by the truth. We have to be even willing to die for the truth. Okay? Remember Joshua? This is the last verse of the message. And I, Joshua, brought back a report to Moses according to my convictions. Okay? He didn't want to go according to the majority. Oh, the majority is giving this report, so I'm just going to go with the majority. No, he said, according to my convictions, okay? And he was in the minority. He was not in the majority. The majority had a different report, and he had a different report than the majority. So this is a challenge for us. It is time for us all to live by convictions, not by convenience. Because you see, that's the way Satan works. Oh, what is convenient? Oh, free this, free schooling, free this, and everything. Isn't that convenience? That's convenience.
But conviction is,
That's not right. I have to work for it. The Bible tells us that whoever doesn't want to work, don't eat. If you don't want to work, don't eat. It would be unfair for you. So it is time for us all to live by convictions, not by convenience. And remember, the battle is the Lord's, and the truth cannot be intimidated. Don't be intimidated by the system that are pushing for what is not according to the Bible. Don't be intimidated. Remember, Jesus is going to defeat the Antichrist and this system. He is victorious. So now, you see, we have to see that we're fighting a battle that the Lord has assured us already that it's a winning battle.
that we're going to win the battle.
We're going to win the battle. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Let's pray. We thank you, Heavenly Father. We thank you for this time and for everything that we are learning from history, from the past, from the present, and about the future, because we know that you are in control of everything, but we really want to be on your side, not on the side of wrong, not on the side of the Antichrist, of that anti-Christian system, but we want to be on the right side. In Jesus' name we pray, and for his honor and glory, amen.